This week, our School Matters series is looking at the issues children, parents, and educators face as kids go back to school for the second time during this pandemic. A new CBS News poll finds 69% of parents are concerned their children will get COVID in school. Cases are skyrocketing among kids 12 to 17, up almost 1,400% since June. Only on CBS This Morning, Meg Oliver visited a New York City school with Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona to learn about his plans for a safe school year. Meg, good morning.
Anthony, good morning. Just last week, President Biden gave full authority to Secretary Cardona to take any action necessary against states that ban mask mandates in schools. Cardona tells me his message is clear. We need to reopen schools, not only for kids' education, but also for their mental health.
You know, it's going to help everyone mentally because, like, you can actually have people to talk to, relate to, new friends, teachers help you.
Like most kids, Jeremy Augusto and Nana Aquani want to go back to school.
When I was in school, I felt safe. I felt like I was actually learning something.
Both are vaccinated and play on the football team at Harry Truman High School in the Bronx. Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona recently visited their school to talk with student athletes about a safe return to the classroom and the field.
We need our student leaders to say, don't be the reason you cancel my season.
We know students learn best in the classroom. We know that for their, not only their academic needs, but their social and emotional well-being, they belong in the classroom.
Is it safe to open full-time with the Delta variant?
You know, as a father, I wouldn't send my children in if I didn't feel they were safe. I wouldn't ask anyone to do something that I wouldn't do for my own children. My children are going back to school. My children are getting on the soccer field. My children are getting on that volleyball court. Because I know as a father that their mental health depends on their ability to engage in that community. And I'm fortunate that my children are of the age where they can get vaccinated. And I know some parents will say, well, my children don't have the vaccine. But the reality is, if we follow the mitigation strategies, we can keep our children safe.
Much of the concern coming from parents is the alarming rise of infections in kids. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, in just 3 weeks, the number of COVID cases in children nearly tripled, though hospitalization rates remain low at only 2%, and deaths are rare, with less than 0.03% of cases involving kids. How do you reassure the parents who are scared?
I think that's an ongoing job for educators across the country. I recognize that fear, and I experience that fear as a parent. But if our schools are open and honest with parents and take the questions that they have and allay their fears, and even show them examples of it, give them tours of the school, parents will see that their children can be safe.
The issue of vaccines is also a safety factor. When it comes to the kids, a little over 54% of 16 to 17-year-olds have received one dose of the vaccine. And among 12 to 15-year-olds, that number is 45%, the lowest vaccination rate for any age group. Should there be a vaccine mandate for teachers and students?
You know, I know that vaccines work, and I know that across the country, 90% of the educators have gotten vaccinated. I would support it. As you know, I don't have that authority to mandate vaccines. But what I can tell you is in those places where they're relaxed about it, we have hospitals that are overrun. In those places where they are getting vaccinated, we're able to function more normally.
The football team at Harry Truman all plan to be fully vaccinated when school reopens in September.
One main reason I got my vaccine was to be like a role model for my other teammates, because I know some of them are like hesitant.
Their head coach, John Shepard, says students' return to school is critical.
Somewhere maybe around a third of our student athletes, I would say, we're at danger for slipping through the cracks.
And so you've been spending your summer calling homes and trying to get them to come back.
Yeah, when all of the circumstances align and a student can return safely to participating in, all the things that they love doing, it's just great to be able to be a part of it.
Part of the safe return to school comes with a recommendation from the CDC that all students and staff wear masks. And just last week, President Biden ordered Secretary Cardona to take action, including possible legal action against governors who ban masking in public schools.
We're not going to sit by as governors try to block and intimidate educators protecting our children.
It saddens me to think that poor policies and political agendas are going to get in the way of those kids getting on the field. We need to follow the mitigation strategies that we know work. Get the politics out of this. Let the education leaders do their jobs. To be very honest with you, I wish we didn't have to wear masks. I know my own children, they don't want to wear masks. I have mask fatigue myself, but if it means giving my children an opportunity to be in school, I'm for it.
Mask mandates in schools is a volatile issue. A CBS News poll found 36% of parents believe masks should be optional for any state planning to defy mask requirements. Cardona says the Biden administration is prepared to investigate through the Office for Civil Rights. 8 states have banned mask mandates altogether.
The secretary raises a good point. Nobody wants to wear a mask.
No.
I don't know anybody who enjoys wearing it. You know, you start drooling in there, your glasses fog up. It's an uncomfortable situation, but you also want to live.
Yeah.
You also want to live.
Well, we saw those numbers at the Tennessee school earlier in the show where you had a huge percentage of teachers and kids who are now infected. You can't believe we're going through this all over again. How many ways do we have to learn what we need to do?
And speaking of learning, as you open the piece, kids learn best in the classroom.
Yes.
Back there.
Yes.
If I can get my 3 kids in the classroom after a year and a half of all remote, they can wear a mask.
Yeah.
Meg, I remember the story you did when we first started with your 3 kids
And we
at
laughed
home.
about it at the time.
We thought this was so funny, and it's not going to last so long, and
Day
here
2
we are.
was bad. Here we are.
Right. Year 2 is even worse.
Year 2 is
Year
worse.
2.